Hello and welcome back to 321 Adam. I'm your host Adam, and in this episode we're going to talk about Star Wars, but more specifically about Star Wars. We're going to talk about why Darth Vader, the number one and the main character of the original 6 films, and you can even branch out and say the new 3 movies and all the new stuff they're doing, why Star Wars is based around Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker, but why Darth Vader is the best villain in any movie there will ever be. So Darth Vader obviously, if you've seen the films, if you haven't seen the films, spoiler alert, you should probably watch these movies. But for those who have watched the movies, the first 3 movies, or they call them the prequels, who were early 2000s, these films show Anakin Skywalker growing up and becoming as prominent of a Jedi as any, and perhaps the strongest Jedi ever. And that's the whole aspect of calling him the Chosen One, and why we see Qui-Gon Jinn, or played by Liam Neeson, we see him grow up, become stronger and stronger and stronger. We see him fall to what the villains are, which become the Empire. The Republic becomes the villains in these films. But Anakin Skywalker, he's always known pain. He's always overcome that pain. He's always made something of himself. So the interesting thing about it is, we see in episode 1, he has to fight his way, win the pod race, so that Qui-Gon Jinn can then turn and free him. By freeing him, they're saying, we're going to make you a Jedi. And Qui-Gon has to do this with so much with a confrontation from the Jedi Council, from Master Yoda, from Master Windu. So the most important thing about episode 1 was that Anakin Skywalker is the chosen one, but not by choice, I guess you can say. The Jedi didn't want Anakin Skywalker. So he's a slave, he has to fight, he has to leave his mom behind. And then Qui-Gon Jinn accepts him, but the Jedi Council doesn't really want him. They're saying he's too old to be trained and other things that you can branch out with. Episode 2, we see Anakin Skywalker as the Padawan to Obi-Wan Kenobi, Master Kenobi. The best part is that the whole movie is Anakin acting out like a bratty teenager. So it's so funny, though, because Anakin is just trying to become a Jedi, try to gain the approval of the Jedi, growing up from ages 10, and he's around the ages of 18 to 21 here, trying to gain the approval of the Jedi Council and Master Kenobi, who was his new master after Qui-Gon was killed in episode 1 by the Sith Darth Maul. What I love about episode 2 is Anakin is acting out the whole movie, and then ends the movie with him breaking the number 1 Jedi code with having, connections and emotional with Padme. And they end up getting married, and it's like, you were on eggshells, and now you're walking onto a pond about to break during spring. It's like Anakin has no qualms. Anakin just wants to do what Anakin wants to do, and Anakin was told that when he was a little boy. You have to follow these rules, follow the rules of being the slave, and then he becomes a Jedi, and it's more of the same. Episode 3, him and Padme are living in secret. He's becoming a more powerful Jedi day after day. He's why am I a master yet? And Chancellor Palpatine, who then obviously becomes the Emperor, and Dark Sidious turns him to the dark side, using that doubt in Anakin's mind. So through the first 3 films now, Anakin becomes the number 1 villain. He turns against everyone that was his friends. And I say friends with like that because they didn't support him. They didn't try to make him feel like, he was, part of them. They didn't want him. They wouldn't make him a master because it's like he was only training for so much less time than all the other kids who were training since a very young age, and Anakin was already jumping in around age 10. He was years and years behind. So, in that method, he was the youngest to be on the council, and begrudgingly put him on the council because the Chancellor wanted him to be on the council. Everything was begrudging with the Jedi, and that's fuels Anakin's turn, because the only thing that's mattered to Anakin to this point has been Padme. Has been from episode 1 when he first met Padme. That is all that mattered, was Padme. It's amazing because Anakin becomes Darth Vader after his fight on Mustafar with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then he turns away from everything. It's just him and the Empire, him and Darth Sidious and the Emperor are building. But at this point, even then, he's a half man, half robot. There has to be a little pity, I guess you could say, for him. He lost Padme in childbirth. He lost Obi-Wan, his closest friend. And it's just him and the Emperor at this point. They're building up this empire. You know, he shows this power-hungry feeling through the second one when he killed the Sand People with his mom. And in the third one, he wanted more power, and the Jedi wouldn't give it to him. And now the Chancellor's giving him more power, but at the same time kind of holding something back as well. Because he's only the second in command here. It's not his empire. That's the best part of Episode 3, where he's talking to Padme going, you know, his empire, my new empire. And Obi-Wan goes, what? Because it's not really Anakin's empire. So even then, they're still holding back, because Palpatine's still holding back from him. It's amazing. And then we go into, you can include Rogue One in there, if you count that as a Star Wars movie. But in Episode 4, here we are, the Empire, the rebellion fighting against him. And you have to wonder, what is he going to accomplish? Like, is this what he wanted to accomplish after all this power hungry to be in control? And there's always going to be somebody who's fighting. There's always going to be somebody, have that pushback against you, no matter what. So the thing is, Vader, or Anakin, has never been in control. He's never been like a high, like you could say, a beloved president. There are so few of them in history and throughout the world, a beloved leader. And I think at that point, Darth Vader, Anakin, you don't care. When we go through Episode 5 and he learns that Luke is his son, and they probably will realize that in Episode 4, but in Episode 5, the beginning of it, they establish that. And then he goes, come with me, this is the only way. And it's just like, that's what's left of Padme, is what's in Luke. Episode 6, he learns that there's Leia, a twin sister. And the thing is, that is all that's ever mattered to Anakin or Darth Vader, has been family, has been Padme. And at the end of Episode 6, when he throws the Emperor down the hall and explodes, and we think that's the end, but of course these 3 new movies can tell you otherwise. Anakin's like, I've done it. I've done what I've always set out to do. This is the only person I haven't been able to defeat all these years, and he finally did it. And why did he do it? For family. And it's amazing. That's the theme of Star Wars. Family, love. It's amazing. Because he does it for Luke. There was no one else he would have done it for. He realized that he made a mistake with Padme, and this was his chance to rectify it all. Darth Vader completes his journey just through so much more death and manslaughter that it's ridiculous. But that's why I think, personally, Darth Vader is the most sympathetic and the best villain there is in any type of movie, TV show, series, as you want to call it now in Disney Plus or whatever you want to call it. That's Darth Vader. There's no one going to be like Darth Vader, ever. And especially now with the way film and TV shows are going, that we're just taking from other things and either writing, extending it, or going back in time, or plugging holes into little loopholes that other movies have made. It's amazing, because there is so little original content out there in the world. And maybe I'll talk about it another time, but that's today's episode. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, subscribe if you want to see more content, and I'll see you next time on 3, 2, 1, Adam.